Going here. Awesome. So welcome to the Chief Chat. It is May 21st of 2020 this year, clicking on by as we head into summer a bit here. We got a lot of exciting things happening inside of Copy Chief. We just had our training with Chris Orzechowski yesterday. It was as epic as we all imagined it would be. $1 million email sequences. Chris talked to us about how to frame any sequence, the timeline of sequences, and went very deep into certain types of emails that you need throughout the sequence. So be sure to catch that in the replay if you haven't already. Let me just show you where it is. So here we are. Here's our little title screen. Today is May 21st. We're on a Chief Chat. And if you go into the dashboard, you see this on my screen. You will see Chris's training featured right up top here. All right. So always remember that you've got so much goodness inside of your in your dashboard. You click on all the trainings and we break them down into different categories for you: the core copy skills, the freelancer skills, the money skills, the copywriting crash course, which is if you're newer to copy or just want to make sure you're doing everything right and in the right sequence. You want to take this and you might just need one of these trainings. You can treat this like a course. Here's the Copy Chief live talks from the past, which will be opening up soon. More on that. All the guest expert trainings, right, with legends of the industry. So copywriting crash course, for instance, and you can see everything that's in there: how to build a solid foundation, what is copywriting, the mind reader copy method, that's nailing your avatar, all the research methods. So it really takes you through the process and really helpful. So make sure you're aware of what you got in your dashboard. Also, of course, when you come here, you can get over to the community and everything you want to do there. Go straight to job alerts, copy critiques. Don't forget about your resources, which is essentially your beat sheets. And these are just quick sort of 1-2 page templates for how to, it's like an overview of the training, right? And so you got it for the 4x6, you got it for the poser, content formula when you want to do a teaching article or a video, 60-second sales hook, rebel yell, freelancing profit pie, which is my new favorite training, the promisability matrix. That was the one with David Deutsch. So you got all these great beat sheets in here. You got the PDFs of the 4x6, the bullet masterclass, question authority. So make sure you're digging into your dashboard and using all the great stuff we got for you, because it's a lot of good stuff, and we keep making it for you. One thing I'm gonna experiment with is having a longer life of each training. I've noticed this pattern, particularly since I started doing the trainings myself again, a lot of them, and it's such a labor of love. I love putting together these trainings, and like all the trainings in Copy Chief, they come from the work we're doing as a community, right? So patterns I'm seeing in things I help freelancers with that I'm coaching in, say, the super group or the accelerator group. These common problems come up, and it forces me to, I'll be giving advice and I'll notice there's a pattern to the advice I'm giving. And then I realize, okay, how can I put this in some sort of usable everyday format and ideally make the results measurable, right? And the process measurable. And that's why for me, the freelancing profit pie is really kind of a breakthrough training, because it's when I knew it was effective. And you can think about this when you're starting to think about creating your own products and your own trainings, and like what's worthy of sort of making the cut, right? So is there a pattern of you helping with it, right? Is the advice you're giving resonating? And can you put it in and explain it with a process? Can you apply a process to it? And are people embracing and using that process? Right. So that's what was 4 or 5 right there. Somebody write these down. I'm riffing. This is actually helpful. But then the next level of it is particularly with the profit pie. I knew it was a thing that I'll use for a long time, because one is I could go to the freelancers that I coach and I say, okay, I have this concept of a 50, 25, 25, where you spend 50% of your time and energy earning 100% of your needed monthly income. You spend 25% on developing new skills, nurturing your network, developing your business, developing your abilities, whatever you need to be focusing on right now. Can you categorize the things you're doing? And then there's 25% of what I call motive. So rev, dev, motive. You want to be motivated by things that might be within the business, or they might even be something outside the business, right? And so how much time are you spending on those things? Because everything we do, that motive category is maybe the trickiest to list things in, but it's such a critical one, because, by the way, it's the one that shrinks the most when we get busy and we stop doing things outside the business. You ever had this moment where you see an old friend, or you're meeting a new friend, and they say to you, so what are you into? Like, what are your hobbies and what do you love to do? And you're like, I don't know. I just really love my business and the work I do. So I spend, it hadn't even occurred to you, like, holy crap, I don't have any activities outside. That's not a good moment. It's an eye-opening moment. Yeah, it happens. It's part of the journey, right? But so for me now, I would say, oh, guitar. I love guitar, and I've been learning to play guitar, and I'm very into learning about the history of guitars and the different makes and models, and then we'll have a conversation about music, and then it becomes interesting, and you realize, okay, and the time I devote to learning guitar makes me a better teacher, makes me a better coach, because I'm seeing what is resonating with me, what is working. Like, you go to YouTube, there's a million people teaching you guitar, but who are the 3 or 4 that I end up sticking with because I learn well from them, and what about their teaching resonates with me and makes me trust them to give them my money and buy their courses, right? So that is 100%, like that 25%. I'm trying to make a wedge. 25% of your wedge in the pie is critical, because it's influencing all the other things we do as copywriters, as marketers, in a positive way, because we get to use our own self as a case study, right? And so it's critical that we do that anyway. And so I could say to any freelancer, let's look at your 50, 25, 25 and see where you're spending your time, or say to them, just assess this and get back to me and list out the things you're doing. And we could see immediately, is it completely out of whack? It's an assessment tool that's very effective. And so all this to say, my goal with the trainings is, spend a month sort of promoting the training and delivering the training. But then what was happening with the old pattern was, we would do that and then we move on, because I'm a creative and I like the next thing, and I get excited about ideas, and we put all this work and energy, and us as a community would engage this training and maybe do a workshop after it for a week, a challenge, and then I noticed there was a whole another month where people are like doing the work and applying it and maybe coming late to the workshop, but we receive the training in a whole new light now, because it's ours, it's of the community, and we're all using it, and this is what we do in Copy Chief. We learn from each other, right? So there was this whole now update that I would love to be sharing, not only with the community to help us all use the skill better, but with the outside, the people who aren't members yet, to show them, like, there's this is how you get good, is you have to engage, and it wakes up parts of your brain and actually gives you new skills that you can immediately apply in your business. And it's not just more information, right? So I want to now experiment with doing that with the trainings, not do a brand new training every month just because I'm in the habit of churning stuff out. Take a training and put it through that cycle. All right, we're talking about it, we're developing it, and then we put it out. And then it's like you put it out to the world, to you guys, and it becomes a whole new thing, because how do you interact with it? What are your takeaways? And it's growing and it's changing color, and it has life now, right? It's not just an idea that me and maybe somebody else came up with. That's when it really gets good and interesting. So then report on that for a month, right? And then in the third month, it's sort of like, okay, now where does it live in sort of the pantheon? Is that the word? Of all the trainings we have, and how does it fit in, and how does that shape the bigger picture of everything we have in the training dashboard? So it's pretty exciting, and we're experimenting with that. And but what we're also going to do because then again, I'm just like spilling the tea here on our thought process and how we work internally about always wanting to optimize this community, this training, because again, like, my mission is to have this time you spend in Copy Chief be the most valuable time you spend anywhere on any platform, far more valuable than you'd spend on Facebook or in Clubhouse. Or it's not that those things have value too, but when you come to Copy Chief, I want you to go, okay, I'm here to get into it. You know what I mean? And you notice, like, we don't have a million little chit chat kind of threads going in here. It's not like social media in Copy Chief. It's people come here with an intention to learn something, or to grab something they need, or to get advice, or to get feedback, right? And that is a special thing. 7 years we're doing this now, where people are learning and helping and teaching and all growing together. It's really phenomenal. It's a rare thing. Most communities do not last this long. Most communities do not change shape and flavor, and have new influencers and new, like, look within our walls. By the way, TianYan, our latest Badassador, major shout out to him. He's just been an amazing, helpful resource, a natural leader, coming in and just being helpful and insightful and sharing. And I know part of TianYan's motivation is to learn more. Like, we learn by teaching. And that's why I want to say to everybody who's in this community, feel empowered to teach. Angie Coley talks about hanging out here for months before she ever posted. Can you imagine Angie Coley not posting in Copy Chief and not giving feedback, not giving advice? It wasn't that she didn't have great advice or input to give. She was just shy. She was waiting. She was like, oh my God, Dean Jackson, David Deutsch, and whoever else, like, these kind of people are in here. And up to you to engage. And man, like, the only thing I'm ever sorry about the lag again. I don't know what the hell is going on with the internet. Some days it fights. Am I back? 2, 3, 4. Am I back? Okay. Anyway, man, just like, the only time I'm ever disappointed is when somebody tells me they're afraid to post. And again, I'm just disappointed that they feel that way, and that they're not. I was like, what can we do to make everyone feel like it's, you're a human with experience, and that means your opinions are valid, and it's okay to not know even the simplest thing. You might say, I keep hearing the term control. What does that mean exactly? What is a control at? It's fine if you don't know that yet, whatever it is. Anyway, all right, I'm ranting today. We're rabbit hole alerts. Anyway, all this to say, we're always looking to make the experience better for you, and more interesting for us. And those things go hand in hand. So Thank you for being a member. Thank you for being a friend. By the way, we're going to get into some best things today. And I'd love to see some new folks who haven't done a best thing before come on and share. This is one of the talk about. This is everything we do in Copy Chief on display when we do this. So if you're willing to, if you ready to go with camera and sound and comfortable coming on Zoom here and just sharing something you've learned lately that helped you, that was like a little bit of a breakthrough. We call it the best thing I learned recently about. And, you know, you just tell us what it was, where you learned it, why it was particularly relevant to you right now, how you applied it. So a little bit of an example, and then a little if-then statement to end. So if you're in this situation, then try this, and I bet it will help. And we do this because it's not only great to share and to learn from each other, but it's a cool reminder to all of us that if you need to post on social media, or you want to, you know, we should all be teaching what we're learning to raise our own expertise and our authority, and let people know what's up, what are we doing, what are we good at, what are we focused on. And I'm telling you, that's when people will recommend you, refer you, and come to you to help. You know, look, our business is solving problems. We do it with copy, we do it with marketing, we do it with big ideas, whatever our specialty is. But at the end of the day, people are paying us to solve a problem they have. And the more you can be learning about how to solve your own problems and how experts solve other people's problems and reporting on those things, naturally, people are going to see you as more of an expert. So this is a great exercise for us all to do and to know about, because as long as you're teaching what you're learning you know, in reporting on it, you'll never run out of content. Rachael Kraft, it looks like, is raising her hand and has a best thing. That would be fantastic. George, does George have one? I see there's a lot of chatter about George. Cool. Yeah, George, if you want to come on again, there's no pressure on this. Just everybody nails it. I've never had one of these like completely crash and burn and everybody go, I don't get it. What was that? You're just simply sharing in your own words something you learned, and there's a little bit of a format to it. So Daniel has one. Okay. So if you have one, could you raise your hand, please? Raising your hand right now would mean that you're ready to come on and share on camera the best thing. And so let's do that. Let's do some best things. And then I want to talk to you a little bit, and I'd love to get your input and your thoughts about Copy Chief Live, because this is the people on this call right now. This is the core. And for what it's worth, the lawn crew has just now arrived. And so if you hear any crazy noises, that's what that is. All right, let's start with Daniel. I'm going to bring you on, Daniel. And I believe you're all the way in Oz. Let's see if it's dark where Daniel is as he gets situated. There he is. Oh, it does look like it's the middle of the night for you, friend. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. It's 2:20 a.m.
Goodness, thanks for making the time, man. That's really means a lot to me.
No, I'm absolutely loving Copy Chief. I've only been in the community for 2 months, and I'm really getting a lot of benefit out of it. So, yeah, right. No, thank you.
Love hearing that, man. All right, cool. Well, we'll be seeing you again on the hot seat here, but for now, tell us your best thing.
So my best thing came last night when I was on the Chris. Sorry,
that's all right.
Thank you. When I was on the email training last night. Now I had wanted to create a quiz for a client to use as a lead magnet, and I was going to do this complicated workaround where I was going to use ConvertKit with a Zapier Zap and SurveyMonkey and everything. And then last night, Chris talks about Typeform, and I'm like, oh, I can do, I can reduce two apps into the one app and do the same thing. So Typeform has allowed me to create very sexy, very sexy assessment quiz, and yeah, so that's gonna allow me to create this this assessment, this quiz for my client. So yeah, and it's only one app rather than two.
That's great. That is a great tip and takeaway, because sometimes the simplest little tech fix can make our lives so much easier. And the less things in the mix, the less they can break and interrupt the process, right? Like we've had so many Zap fails over the years. It's like, can we get Zap out of our lives? Is that possible? Sometimes they're really helpful, but too many is dangerous. So what's the if then statement, Daniel?
The if then statement. If you want to create a compelling lead magnet, then use Typeform. Like that.
Awesome. Let's say a compelling interactive lead magnet, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Great job, man. I appreciate you being awake, and we'll see you a little bit on the hot seat.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Fantastic. And now, how perfect is this? Because the best person I know on lead magnets is up next. Someone who knows quite a bit about making compelling and interactive lead magnets. Let's bring on Rachael Kraft. And I'm going to mute when you go, because there's lots of things happening outside my window. Hello, Rachael. Oh, we're muted. Can you unmute? You're on your phone there. I love this outdoor view. It might be somewhere funky on your phone. How do you unmute on a phone on Zoom? Anybody know? Oh, okay, you'll find it. I'll keep talking in the meantime. By the way, Rachael Kraft is our latest alumnus coach in RFL and Real Free Life. And it's really great to see her in that role. She's been a superstar in the program. And I love it when the former students come back a session or two later as a coach. It means that they've taken everything they've learned in there and been able to apply it and teach it now. Like those are the levels of mastery. Like everything's ABT, always be teaching, is the key to growing your authority to everything you need done in this business if you just are willing to teach. And Rachael, like Chris Warzakowski, a legit former teacher, so they really know how to teach. Rachael, have you found the mute button inside of Zoom on your phone? Apparently not, because we can't hear you. We also can no longer see you. And that's okay. I know this is, yeah, well, we see you now, at least. Sorry, that's okay. Hey, this is here's the lesson. If you want to be live mic ready on your cell phone, then be sure to find out where the mute button is ahead of time. So that's how brilliant you are, Rachael. You gave us the best thing without saying a word. That's incredible. So good. Thank you. See, I told you, there's no way to screw this up. There's no way to fail at the best thing. We will always learn something. All right, our buddy George. Let's see George and get a best thing. Da-da-da. There he is. What's up, buddy?
Hey, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Awesome. Yeah. So best thing I learned recently, it's been a crazy year for me overall, but work was really sporadic. And all of a sudden, since joining Copy Chief, I've took it on multiple projects, which is really awesome. And I mentioned earlier in February about having the issue with, wanting to be a perfectionist and always having to, structure everything and hit a certain amount of hours. And the big takeaway I've realized is just using the feedback in Copy Chief and sending my emails to the team and having them really tear them apart is just really sped up my ability to understand, okay, like I know that I can I can write these much faster if I just listen, take each of their advices, kind of notice the patterns and sum up what they're saying and implement it in my own work. So already seeing great results with the current clients I'm working with. I recently wrote my first email for a client and made him $2.5 thousand. So he was really happy about that. So, and that was a lot coming from the feedback from the group. So I guess the big takeaway is just, you know, let people kind of give feedback on your work, especially if you're just not sure, or if you just want that reassurance. These people really know their stuff, and I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, just especially if you're in a beginner, I'm in like kind of the beginning phase of my career, and I'm not always sure of myself when I'm writing. Is like, is this going to convert or not? So so yeah, just going into the chat or the forum and asking for feedback has been huge for me. So when in doubt, just reach out.
I love it. When in doubt, reach out. That's awesome, George. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate you sharing that. Fantastic. That is so great. And again, man, I was saying it's perfect because I was kind of saying that earlier about when in doubt, reach out, man. That's perfect. Like everybody's here to help everybody. And I mean, our Badassadors obviously are like amazing, you know, Alex, Banko, Carolyn, Amanda, TianYan, Angie, Jimmy Parent. I mean, to have access to any one of these people, Coach Joshua Lee Henry, thank you. I mean, you know, these are working pros at a high level, man. And the fact that these people aren't getting paid. They're volunteering their time to come help you because they know what George just said, that when they need help, they reach out. And someone was there for them. They know that lifeline is critical. And again, they learn by teaching. And so they find value in it. They do it for those reasons. And so everybody has that power in the community. So thank you, George, for reminding us. There's no way to fail in Copy Chief when you engage. There's just no way to do it unless you're a crazy nutbag jerk. And I think that's only happened once ever. I can seriously, in 7 years, get this, in 7 years, I shouldn't jinx this because the world is what it is. But in 7 years of this community, thousands of people, members, in and out, you know, several times sometimes. And most people stay on far longer than a year. But over the 7 years, I want to say twice ever have I excused someone from the community, and of course, given them a refund and said, we're just not a match, because they were taking us off topic. And they were being combative for combative's sake, or, you know, they were just weren't, you guys know, I mean, you've got to have the intent to contribute and find value and engage and do all that with the intent of learning and helping. That's really it. And anything else, it just makes it something that it's not supposed to be. But only twice that I can even think of. In 7 years have I done that, and one of them was simply the person had the right intent, but their subject matter just made me uncomfortable. It was really hardcore dating stuff, and it just didn't like the way it felt. I didn't like seeing it, and you know. And then, of course, that brings up a whole thing of, well, you know, can we judge a niche over, you know, I didn't like it. And so that's when Kev gets to say what feels good and what doesn't in his community. That was one of the only time ever. And the guy was lovely about it. He said, I'm really bummed because like George just said, I get a ton of value, but I understand it's not for everybody. It was uncomfortable. Anyway. So all that said, okay, now can I get your help? I see Rachel's raising her hand again. Do we want to try this again? Rachel? Because I'm all for the victory lap. I just don't know if, okay, here we go. This is great. We're seeing in real time a new best thing come to fruition. Here we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, so my best thing is if you ever need to get on a cell phone Zoom call, make sure you have the privacy settings correct, because
Is that what
apparently,
it is? The privacy
oh
setting.
my gosh, yeah. And you said that you couldn't hear me, and I was like, my hands were shaking. I was like trying to find the settings. Like, okay, I need to figure out this
The
thing.
worst
Oh,
feeling, yeah.
oh my gosh. Well, thank you for bearing with me, everybody.
That was great. Well, thanks for the privacy side. That is good to know. Is that, did you have to go to beyond the screens that you can see? Okay.
Yeah. So I was hitting the unmute button, and you actually have to go. I'm on an iPhone 12. You have to go to settings and then privacy and then microphone and then Zoom and turn on so that Zoom has access to your microphone. And I'm sure to other people that's totally obvious, but it took me
No,
a hot
I
sec.
encounter that all the time. I'll have the weirdest things. Like sometimes I'm watching, I put on a YouTube video and there's no sound, and I'm going, why is there no sound? It's because the phone's connected to some other source somewhere, or you know.
Oh yeah.
And so I'll have to go into the Bluetooth and figure out, and then once I disconnect that, it works again. But think of these little like rocket ships that we have in our pockets. Like it's a pretty complex machine at the end of the day. So
it is.
So thank you for that tip. Did you want to share something else that you originally want to share? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'd love to. Okay, so one of the things that I've heard you and the other coaches in the group say over and over again is, you know, you can be picky to work with the type of client that you want to work with, that is going to actually light you up and just make you really excited to work with them towards their purpose and towards their goals. And the other thing that I've heard is if you close off a door, some other opportunity will present itself. It's going to fill that void. And I feel like I just saw that in action for myself this past week, because number one, I closed a door. There was a client that I didn't enjoy working with. It wasn't, you know, our purposes weren't aligned. So I said, no, thank you. I don't want to do this anymore. And number two, there's this other client that I had done a lead magnet for. And, you know, that was why he came to me, because I'm a lead magnet person. And we did this lead magnet. It was great. I got to know him really well. His purpose and the message that he's trying to promote is perfectly aligned with me. And right before this call, I literally got off a call with him where he offered me this huge retainer to just work with him ongoing. So I'm really excited. So if you are feeling like you're stuck with your clients that you have and you're not feeling fulfilled and happy, just don't be afraid to close the door and let it fill up with some other opportunity that's going to be much more suited for what you want to do.
Love it. Thank you so much. That was a great share, Rachel. And thanks for all you're doing in RFL in the community. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I'm honored to help. It's great. Okay, thanks for the second.
Oh, sorry. Yes, thanks for teaching us. That was two best things in one. That was awesome. So privacy settings, that's a great live mic ready moment right there. Awesome. By the way, and I want to go back to that. I can't tell you how true that is. And it's the hardest, it's really one of the hardest things to have faith in. I think twice with Angie, we went through this. I say went through this like it was, you know, meaning we went through this process of Angie having to make a big decision about, you know, when you're turning off money in your business, that it's obviously an anxious decision. You know, should I turn off this money because I'm not enjoying it? Like Rachel said, it's just not feeling good to me. I'm not, you know, I'm stressing out when I see this person's name, when I get an email from this client, when I have to get on a call with them, I'm not enjoying any of it. That is, yes, a sign, because here's the thing, that energy, and again, I obsess on the subconscious mind and its power to direct our reality, because our waking mind, our waking brain is constantly instructing it with what's important to us, and it only knows what we tell it. And so, but it has magical abilities to make, to guide our reality. And so the most powerful thing you can do is essentially make important decisions that serve you, and send that signal to your subconscious mind that this is my standard. And so when we decide to stay in a situation only for the money, and decide that it's too scary to move away from that, we're not only staying stuck in a situation we don't like, but that energy is dragging us down. And that what we're telling ourselves is that I'm not worthy of better than this. That's tough, right? And I get it. It's scary to make investments and have faith. That is a leap of faith that something else, but I can coach this because I've seen it so many times. Every time somebody makes that hard decision, sometimes in minutes, because it does just open up this portal that you had closed off before to opportunity, and something better comes in, and you're like, did that just happen? Did I wake up, make the hard decision to fire this client, do that, and then by sundown have a better offer for a retainer that now excites me? And then you realize how different your life is, how your waking existence feels to have that in your life instead of the old thing. Holy smokes. And frankly, just having, the integrity for yourself. This is what we talk about when we say treat yourself like your number one client. Have the integrity for yourself to make that your standard. Think about this. When people, and look, I'm not judging anyone's relationship or there's always a lot of circumstances, but just at the core, you take a situation in a love relationship where one person cheats on the other. And I don't just mean like a moment of passion got out of hand. I mean, like, had an affair behind their back, right? The reason that happened, and by the way, I thankfully have not suffered that, but I know many people have. And when that happens, I've talked to people who have been through this, and the physical act of it, of course, that hurts. It's the sneaking around, and it's realizing, oh my God, I was in one reality about us, and you were in this whole other reality that whole time, to the point where you were living this other life and sneaking around, and you just, that's the most hurtful thing. It's like, you didn't have the courage to just tell me it was over. And so that's integrity. Having the courage to go to somebody and say, hey, this is the hardest thing I've ever had to say, but I'm having these feelings about, because here's the thing, that's gonna potentially crush the person you have to say that to. But compared to sneaking around behind their back and how insulting that is, and how hurtful that is, because you didn't have the courage and the integrity to say to them, I'm so sorry this is happening, but it's what's happening and we have to deal with it, right? It's the same thing in a client relationship like that. You're going on allowing those feelings to happen, and you're cheating on yourself, essentially, right? So again, this is why the love relationship, client relationship thing is always so applicable, because you can think about it in the same context with the same consequences, and see what the right thing is to do. And it's never fun to have a difficult conversation, but man, they get easier. And what you say to yourself when you're willing to have the courage to tell somebody, this ain't working for me and I got to end it. Wow, it's so powerful. Okay. Yeah, Angie's very good at difficult conversations, but nobody looks forward to it. All right. That was fun side road. Okay, could I please, and then we'll get right into the hot seats and do our best to end at the top of the hour. I'm just going to take a quick survey and just give me your honest answer, because here's where I'm at thinking about Copy Chief Live. This event is amazing, and there's so many things that make it amazing. But as the promoter of this event, I have to consider what is most important to people, and what makes them plunk down good money, get on a plane, and go to a place they've maybe never been, and trust that I'm going to invite them into a environment and they're going to be surrounded by people and leave there feeling enlightened, empowered, and with nothing but great memories. And this year, I also want to make that promise for people who join us virtually, because this is the first time we'll have a virtual streaming component to what we do. So I think the simplest question I can ask you, and if you just put your answer for me in the chat. In order of importance, what makes you decide to invest in an event? All right. Like again, whether it's you're going to it or virtually, is it the content, meaning the speakers? Okay. So is it like the names of the speakers and I want to learn from those people and this is going to be amazing? So is it basically who are the headliners? Like if it was Bonnaroo, right? Two, is it let me finish them before you start answering, please. Is it, so let's say, is it the content? Is it the community, right? It's like, I don't care really what happens on stage. I just know I want to be around these this is going to be fun. These are great. These are my people. Content, community, or three, is it what word should I use? Because this year we want to learn like, or let's say like the learning, which would be similar to the content, but is it the opportunity to come and workshop something, actually get help and coach? So let's call it coaching. All right. So let's say, is it the content, community, or coaching? In order of importance to you, what would make you buy a ticket to an event? All right. So, okay. So TianYan says community. Lolita says community. Yeah. Content is the excuse. Interesting. Huh. I guess it makes sense that everybody here is saying community, because we're already embraced, right? Yeah, that's interesting. So I guess it's the thing that we hear all the time. Yeah, community. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I know. It's just very slanted, I guess, Alex. Really shouldn't be surprised by that. I'm going to survey, my whole list about this. Because let me ask you a more specific question and then we'll move on. Here's what, because right now we're planning the content, right? And so if you've been to the events in the past, day 1 and 2 are a lot of speakers. And then we do a networking thing in the afternoon where you meet clients. And then day 3 is like, we call it freelancers only. Anybody who's there to hire copywriters or freelancers is not allowed in the room, so we can talk shop and go deep on the business stuff, right? Kick off our shoes. It's a little more relaxed. There's a lot more discussion and interaction. And I shouldn't say my preference. Would you prefer that we did a thing like somebody presents something really high level, but also very actionable, and then we have a workshop segment where we say, okay, we're going to do one thing that this person just taught us and we're all going to work on it, and there'll be sort of coaches around and they can help, and you can help each other with it, and you'll sort of have a thing done that you've been probably needing to do and just haven't had the opportunity, right? And then there'll be panel discussions and other things. And so would you love the opportunity to actually work on something while you're at the event and have help with it and come away with something you feel like, I can implement this right away? Is that important, or is that feel like something you can get? Yeah, you like that. Yeah, Lisa hates workshopping. Yeah, or having to talk to your neighbor about something, right? I appreciate that honesty. Yeah. So some people would love it. Yeah. Okay. Action. Yeah. I think, and here's the thing, just again, I'm just sharing everything today because that's what we do. I mean, I'm like, I don't always like to show the sausage being made, but I think it's valuable, right? And I count on you guys to influence my ultimate decisions. But for the virtual component, I think that's very valuable to be able to, because it's different. You're not getting all the advantage. Like community, if you're planning on coming live, it's like, man, just put me in a room with these amazing people. And what, the Capital Live has been great because everybody loves it all. When we survey posts, everybody loves the content. They love the speakers. They love the community. They had fun. They got jobs from the network. It all works. But I love day 3. That's more interactive and a little bit more coaching and workshop-ish. It's really fun. So. Okay, cool. Well, I just appreciate you guys giving me some immediate feedback, but when you see the survey, if you don't mind, have that in mind. And I want to hear as much as you have to share about what you've loved about past events, what you wish there was more of, what you hate about some events. Like Lisa saying, like, I can't stand when I feel like, I've been hoodwinked and I showed up to this thing and they're like, all right, now pull out a piece of paper and I want you to, and we're going to play some music while you fill that out and then get in a group and talk about it. I also find that a little tedious, frankly. And I don't think that's not how I would do the workshop, but a lot of people find it very valuable. And it is, because you get to work out ideas with people. It can just be a little weird for a second. But then, that's how you also make connections and make friends, by being in a group with people. Right. So I would love everybody to weigh in on it. Okay, here we go. We're going to go probably a little bit over time. Forgive me. This has been really insightful and valuable, and I hope it has been for you too. Let's get into the critiques. We're going to start with Pat. So Pat, if I can bring you on, I'm going to do that now. And by the way, please don't hesitate to ask for critiques. We go always, hi Pat, good to see you. And this is how we do. And by the way, Pat, a lot of the value will come in the comments, and so we'll make sure you have access to these comments after.
Great.
So why don't you tell us what we're looking at while I pull it up?
All right. So I am writing a sales page. It's actually my first sales page, so it's important that I get some feedback on it.
Awesome.
And the client is an artist who is starting to make online art classes. She has done one before. She hired an agency to do her first one, but she doesn't have the budget for that. So I'm doing this one. It's a class. She is a en plein air painter, which is outdoor painting. So people who like to be outdoors and paint. And she's apparently a fabulous teacher. I've talked with some of her current students, and they say that she has a way of pinpointing exactly what they need to do and telling them how to take the next step, moving a branch here or there, or doing something small that makes the picture come together. And the most difficult problem for people who have some experience seems to be getting a picture that feels like it's coming together and conveys something cohesive. She says that she can teach absolute beginners all the way up to advanced people, and I'm sure she can. So, and she's also teaching pastels plus paints. So she has a lot of agendas, and that doesn't all fit into, like, say, a headline. So part of the difficulty is just kind of figuring out who to focus on. But the people I interviewed were all studio painters who decided to go outdoors and then found the subject overwhelming.
Great. Wow, what a great summary. And what great work you're doing, like talking to the clients and really understanding the benefits, her unique benefits. Great job, Pat, on that alone. Okay, cool. So I had the chance to look over this copy, unlike Daniel's, unfortunately, because I couldn't access it. But so I'm going to share some things I see, and then we'll get some great value from the comments. I probably won't have time to bring on a panelist because that'll take us over time. And I don't know if, by the way, does anybody if you do have experience in this niche, artists, painters teaching other artists, or particularly with painting? Oh, Alex does. Okay, cool. Awesome. So Michelle as well. So let's pay close attention to Alex and Michelle, and you guys can. All right. So I first want to tell you, I think you did a great job, especially this being an early project for you. Really, I mean, I read it and I thought, there's nothing here that makes me go, no way I'm buying this. It's authentic. It's you're keeping it simple and pretty direct. By the way, somebody brought this book up.
Oh, yes, I have that.
Okay, everybody needs to own this book and like keep it handy, because it's one of the greatest guides for what's my direction. And it's a great reminder that we want to be talking about one thing and really stay focused in our ad writing. And so I'll bring up the copy and I'll just kind of read the lead here, and I'll give you my feedback. So the headline is, so subhead, prehead, take the guesswork out of landscape painting, create a captivating en plein air portfolio you feel proud of so you can confidently display your work. Even if you're busy, don't like technique, and aren't sure you have enough talent. So again, good work with a simple and very direct headline and a proven formula. Learn to create convincing and compelling landscapes so you can show your work in galleries, increase your prices, or smile with pleasure as you hang them on your living room wall. You're an artist. Maybe it's been a long time since you've had the time and energy to devote to your craft. Life can get busy, but it's art that brings balance. Painting takes you to a different world where time slows down. In this world, you can tell a story on canvas. You can touch people with your art. You can create something magical. You want to capture the stunning landscape in front of you, respond to it, and portray it in your intensely personal style. That's why you paint, right? Okay, and then we go into, so I'm going to stop there for a second and say, I'm trying to get too distracted by the comments because we'll get them all. I mean, we want you to do them, everybody, but I know it's hard. Like, people are like trying to do 3 things at once. So here's what I say about this. To me, where you're trying to get every problem in to the lead here. And I love that you went into detail when I asked you about the project, because you focused on some specific benefits. You said this woman's an amazing teacher, and that the thing people specifically have trouble with is this new format. And right, that they don't know where to put a branch or what, and so she can come over and delightfully make a small adjustment where you're like, oh, finally I can do this kind of art, and it's really gratifying, right? I didn't hear you say anything about them not having time to paint anymore. And so for me, the biggest takeaway with the lead is, and I thought this before you even gave me it when I first read it, is like, this is important. I don't think it's in the lead.
Okay.
I think what's in the lead is bring me to this place where I fall back in love. So you can say without saying, isn't this missing from your life? Don't you miss the time that you had when you used to do this actively? And you don't have to say that directly. You just have to talk about, this is why we paint, essentially. It could be that kind of bonding lead, right? And then again, and then I'm just saying that's one option, but the real takeaway is don't try to force in too much. This is your problem, and stick with the main problem. Okay. And then this one, really, then you start piling it on, but you're not sure how to tie your paintings together. The shadows seem flat, the colors are boring, the light is too subtle. I love that you're showing how much, like, obviously you get this, and it's from the artist you're writing as her, and so obviously she would know all these things, and so you did a great job of getting all these things in. But we have this danger when we start naming too many problems, that people can start to go, oh no, actually that's not the issue. It's, it can get a little overwhelming or distracting even. And so, maybe they don't have unfinished paintings stored in boxes. So I would say, like, better to like get a lot of these in on one sort of linear thread, instead of just throwing all these things at them and having them, because sometimes the theory we have is like, okay, well, I know these are the problems people face, and if they just tick 2 or 3 of the boxes, they're going to want to continue and find out. That's okay, like later, maybe in some bullets or something, right? But I think for me, to make this feel more personal and really speak to the avatar, it's going to be about what's, the problems you may have experienced are going to disappear because these are the kind of issues. Maybe tell little stories, Jenny always felt that this would happen, and Marie always had this issue, and your coach was able to do this slight thing that made it all come alive and made it joyous again and less frustrating. And you know what I mean? So there's all kinds of ways you can get that across without just sort of blasting them with, I bet you're like this. Oh, not quite that. Well, how about this? And you know what I mean? Because then it almost feels a little confrontational in a sense. Does that make sense?
So take out some of those detailed examples, and then what do you think to put in though instead?
I mean, to restructure it in a way where you can talk about why we paint, and what might be frustrating about it instead of joyful. To me, one of the big takeaways
in the beginning.
In the beginning, yeah, because everything that this is about is, I don't think it's about, maybe it's about getting in a gallery someday. Are you, would you say that
there's a segment of them that has that? I think it's more though about, I mean, getting in a gallery is related to either they can't tell what's missing. The teacher doesn't know how to say it, so I have to come up with some words, but either they don't know what's missing in their painting, like how to get them to the next step, or they do know and it's a feeling of not being cohesive. And so they'll identify particular ways that that's true, like, okay, well, I don't know what to do about shadows, or I don't know what to do about this. But it's that sense of cohesiveness that's so hard for the outdoor painting.
Got it. Okay, cool. So yeah, I thought these were all bullets were great. Like, wouldn't it be great if I could now have this ability, right? This one scared me a little, just because you want to make very clear, like, a roadmap doesn't mean paint by numbers or something, right? Okay. And so I just would find the other word there. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, in a sense, this is like getting them to nod their head about, yes, this is why I feel frustrated trying to do this type of art, and then future pacing that these problems can be solved.
I have two questions. I have two issues at the beginning. One is that for the painting, that the cohesiveness they're looking for, but the issue that I heard most was, I'm too busy to take a class. So there's those kind of two.
Right. Let's go to the comments with this, because to me that is an issue, but I don't think you can attack them both out of the gate like you attempting to do. I feel like.
And the art one is the one to go with. Yeah,
I think so, because again, even if they are too busy, if they're reading this, it means that it's important to them that they get back to it. And I think if we can get them to remember how it felt to make time to do a thing that brought you joy, then they're going to solve their busy problem on their own. I don't think it's hard to solve everybody's I'm too busy problem. That's
okay.
Yep. Okay, cool. And then you said the second question?
No, that was it.
Okay, cool. Again, overall, I think you're nailing the language. You're getting the details in there that make me trust you, that you get the problems. I think it's just about give yourself a little more space to have the conversation up front, and bring them into their why of why they care about, and seeing themselves sitting out there in the beautiful sunlight with a cool breeze and just really being in this complete Zen moment of creating and feeling free to do it, and not frustrated judging your art, right? And knowing
do that before the problem, before I talk about the problem.
I think so. Yeah, I would say this. You may decide that you don't need that can't be the whole lead, but I think the problem is, I'm looking for Alex or exactly. Right. Yeah. Alex, again, how great would it be if you knew when to reach for the number 3 angle brush and when to reach for the 10? I think it's those kinds of things, like, bring me into, like, I want to feel that one of the greatest moments I ever had with John Carlton when we were working on a project together is I was trying to do a thing like you're doing here, which is like get all the objections in, you know, and
Yeah.
and he talked to me about future pacing, and he said, and he just riffed, and John has this magic ability to riff copy. You may have heard me tell the story, but and he just off his top of his head walked me through. He said, in the first week, in the first video, you're going to find it challenging, but you'll realize you can do this, and the next day you'll wake up and you'll feel muscles you haven't used in a long time, right? By week 2, you're going to be in the groove, and it's going to start to feel easy, and you're looking forward to the workouts. By week 3, you're noticing that your clothes fit differently. On week 4, your people are actually coming to you concerned because you've lost so much weight and your body's changing, and like saying, what are you doing? Is everything okay? And and so he was just riffing, but it was just like this. It's like, oh, I get it. And I think, like Alex is saying, the idea that they're going to be empowered to do all this, it isn't just about, to me, like art isn't like, I have this problem and I need to solve it so that I can enjoy this again. It's that also, like, wouldn't it? I look at, speaking again with guitar, so many, look at the YouTube videos, they always come out and they do talk about problems, but the ones that are most effective for me is, wouldn't it be amazing if you could sit with any other guitarist anytime and they could say blues in C, and you would know exactly what to do, and you're like, yes, that's why I'm doing this, right? And so yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. And have you posted this in the forum already to get everybody's feedback there as well?
And I need to go say bye to my sister, so
okay,
thank you very much.
All right, see you,
Bye.
Pat. Bye. There you go. Pat's like, that's enough help from you, Kevin. Okay, cool. Oh, Pat's kind of stuck there. Are you still seeing that? Change role to attendee. All right. I don't know why that's stuck there. Cool. All right. So again, hopefully I'm going to make sure Pat posts this in the forum so we can all give our comments there. But I guess the big takeaway is not trying to get all the information in, this is something I used to struggle with headlines, was like, where do you begin and end the headline when there's so many benefits and there's so many problems to solve? And next thing you know, you got this 28-word headline, and you realize, oh my God, I'm overwhelming people out of the gate here. Right. There's a place for every piece of the argument, but it's not all in the headline. It's not all in the lead either. Right. So cool. All right. You guys still seeing Pat frozen also on the screen? Yeah. I don't know how to change that. Let's see. I don't want to stop video. Put on hold, remove. I think I just remove Pat. Yeah. Okay. There we go. All right. Okay. Now, Daniel, thanks for hanging with us, everybody. Got you. I'm going to bring you on. Oops. I'm not going to rename you. I'm going to promote you. All right. Now, I haven't seen this copy at all because I'm just now getting access to the document. But I know you said, okay, this is rather short, so this will be easy. Hey, buddy, good to see you again.
Hey, Kevin, good to see you again.
Okay, cool. So yeah, get us educated on what the objective here. This copy is live. It's a client project. So talk about the market and what we want to do with the ad.
Yep. So in Australia, we have the government, the federal government, in combination with the state governments, have what's called the NDIS, which is the National Disability Insurance Scheme, and that scheme provides funding for people with disabilities to get support. So that support can be things like accessing community, like social and community supports, personal care, cleaning and gardening and those kind of things. So it's a range of supports for people with disabilities aimed at helping people where possible become independent.
Okay.
And so the market in this case, this is for print ad that's in a Christian newspaper because it's a Christian
Organization.
NDAS provider. Yeah, and this ad's going in that newspaper, and the market is Christians who are interested in caring and stuff like that, who most likely are eligible for the NDIS or know somebody who is through their church.
Okay, good. So they're aware of NDIS, exactly what that means, and their problem is, do I qualify?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And this is obviously very space limited, and so is what we're seeing here, like in the exact word count and all that already. Okay, oh, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, yep.
So is this, I know you must be space limited if it's a newspaper ad. So is this about the character count you need to stay in?
Yeah, that's right, yes.
Yeah. Cool. So I'm just seeing it for the first time, but I mean, again, with a newspaper ad of limited size, this is just sell the damn thing kind of an ad. And I think you're doing a great job of that. It's just like, they need to know what it is and realize that there's an organization that can help them get support where they may have not either thought they could or so are you ready to get the most out of NDIS? Getting the support you need for your disability can be challenging. How do you know if you're eligible? How do you find a provider? How do you choose the right support worker? Assessment helps you prepare yourself for choosing an NDIS provider and a support worker, whether or not you choose the SALT Foundation as your, okay. So SALT Foundation is your client. They are a provider and their goal is to get people to join the NDIS through them because they get what, a placement fee or they become the provider. So they're like a provider management company. And they want someone to, once they get approved, go to the SALT Foundation to supply them the care, essentially, right?
That's right, yes.
Got it. Okay. It helps you determine your eligibility, your needs, what you're looking for in a support worker, and your goals. Yeah, it's very direct. I want to see the comments here, if anybody. I mean, for me, it's like, if that's all you can say, I think you're saying the right stuff. The only thing that stands out a little bit to me is this idea of the SALT Foundation. Are they aware of that? Would you expect them to be aware of the SALT Foundation?
We've got a whole page in there. It's a sponsored page. So we have a 500-word advertorial, which is on the same page as the ad.
Okay, got you. I see. I see. So there's a whole other ad essentially explaining why the SALT Foundation is a great choice for them to do this through. Got you. Yeah, then I think for this ad, it's good. It's not a lot I would change. I mean, you get such limited, it's like a radio ad. It's like, wow, 30 seconds goes by fast. Like I can only say one thing, you know? Let's just see in the comments if anybody is yeah, it reads like a Gary Halbert. Yeah, how to claim Social Security. Yeah, you know, there's clever things you can maybe do, but it's not necessary in this context because you've got all the information. It sounds on the same page, right? And so if anything, there might be an opportunity to connect those two things and say, hey, everything you just read, here's how to put it into action. But I don't see anything wrong with the ad, Daniel. I think it's going to do good. Yeah, we'd all be curious to see the advertorial. So if you want, it'd be great if you could post, because this is a good lesson, because sometimes what we have to write is not the most conventional stuff, and writing for print is a different game because of space limitations and all those things. So if you could start a thread, if you haven't already, have you started a thread in the critique form?
No, I haven't. I haven't
Okay,
started a thread. I'm still learning how to do all this stuff with you guys.
Okay, cool. If you need any help, just ask Lolita. She'll guide you. But you could just post and you even mentioned that you were on the chief chat. And so give us the whole advertorial and your ad, and that might spark some other ideas. But honestly, it sounds to me like you did a great job of doing what you need to do with limited space to make it very clear what action they should take and why that's worth doing.
And an impossible deadline. I was told at 5:30 p.m. yesterday that they wanted it by 9 a.m. 9
Oh, great job, dude. Yeah. Sometimes isn't it amazing? Parkinson's law, dude, that, you know, when you got 10 minutes, make it magic. Like there's no time for cleverness or creativity right now. Sometimes that's the best thing. Cool. All right. I think you did a great job, Daniel. And if you want to post up the advertorial, it'd be an interesting case study for us to just see what was the advertorial you were going off of. I'd love to see, even if possible, how it looks, how they share the page. And then when
I've got the graphic design of the ad. I haven't got the graphic design of the whole page yet.
Okay. So maybe when it comes out, will you see it in the paper?
Yeah.
So maybe take a picture of it and post that or whatever. And then you'll obviously be hearing the results. And so we can follow along and see how your ad did. And if it needs improvement, we can all weigh in.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, man. That was really, really fun. Really good lesson and great job on a tight deadline.
Thank you.
All right. See you, Daniel. Awesome. All right. Great chief chat, everybody. Thanks for all your help, all your engagement, and thank you personally for helping me think through Copy Chief Live. We'll be sending out some more surveys, and I just want to make it. I want to keep keeping it fresh, and of course, we'll do all the fun stuff. We'll have a party, and we'll have some music, and it's just going to be a blast. So, thanks everybody. Appreciate you being here, and see you inside. Don't forget to jump into the workshop off of Chris O's amazing training. We're going to get a little deeper into how to do an email sequence. So you're going to choose a type of sequence, the 7-day layout. You're going to map it. You're going to write one of the emails from that sequence, and then you're going to write 3 alternative subject lines. And so you're going to get, Chris is going to be in there giving you feedback. Very cool chance to get free coaching from Chris. So take advantage of that. Also, if you haven't seen, or if you're on a fence, Email Copy Academy, ECA, Chris's signature program, is now a partner with Copy Chief. It's going to live in our world under our umbrella, which is a real honor for me, because I know just about everybody I coach has been through the original version of that course. Chris agreed to redo it. He wanted to refresh it and optimize it. We said, let's do it together. And he's doing them live, all new material, all optimized. The foundation of it will be solid, but it'll be fresh from Chris. And you'll get coaching for 6 weeks from Chris's writers that work with him in his agency on how to write better emails. So if you're looking to become an email pro, this is about the greatest opportunity you can have for a measly $500. It's pretty insane what we price this at, but we want as many people in there, and we want to blow as many minds as possible. And so look for that. Copychief.com/ECA is where you can get all the information about that. If you're a member, you get a discount. So make sure to look in the forum for where to sign up for that. All right. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.